Hello. Okay, I feel like I didn't need to address this topic anymore, but not everybody's watched my other videos. I don't know if I'll have time to do the capsule wardrobe stuff in here or not. I put it in the thumbnail, but whatever. This was going to be the cost per footwear edition, but most of you who've watched my content have watched my boot videos and not this kind of content anyway, so I don't know how redundant that needs to be. If you're interested in footwear that isn't boots, I talked about footwear a bit in my Scottish accessories video. One of those videos was about Scottish footwear, and I talked about regular footwear in that video already. And I put tweed in this thumbnail because, as pertains to Saville Row, I don't believe that every Saville Row suit is a hard-wearing, durable tweed. I think they use regular fabrics too. I think it's regular suits and sporting suits. I've never been to Saville Row, but I mean, I have tweed trousers. Like, here's a pair that cost me like almost $300, and they're, a woven wool fabric. But I mean, if I hold them up to the light, I can literally see through them. I mean, you can't see that on the camera, that I can, kind of see my fingers when I do this with the light that's there. You can see the shadows. I'm not making this up. There is a light right there, and I can see my fingers through the fabric. Now, so is this fabric heavier and more durable than these 18-ounce wool or denim raw selvage things that I just got? No. Will it be warmer? Maybe, because it's wool, so a little more insulating property. But is it thicker? Is it more durable? I'm going to say no. There's different thicknesses of tweeds, different weights, same as jeans. I can get 10-ounce jeans or I can get 20-ounce jeans, and they'll perform, I assume, slightly differently in different temperatures and over different wearing conditions, okay? So what happened was, some commenter had, accused me of overthinking, and I had said, well, you don't create content. I'll think about this stuff as much as I want to. And really, I'm not thinking that much about this stuff as people, I guess, think I am or something. Maybe my brain processes information faster than yours, and you're jealous. I don't care. If it takes me 20 minutes to get through a 15-minute video instead of 15 minutes because I'm thinking and commenting and stuff, that was what time I was going to spend watching a sitcom instead. Like, who cares? But this person came back at me, and he had obviously read my previous comments on the previous video from 2 videos ago, the fast fashion video, where I talked about the graph and all that. And I had left a comment on somebody's comment because they had said they always buy by cost per wear, like they had some magical equation. So if you haven't seen the previous video, I labeled this as part C when it's technically part B or C on fast fashion. However you want to do the math on that, I don't care. So anyway, but another interesting one had come back because one guy had argued that I had, made some erroneous statement about, growing as an adult or whatever. And another guy came in and said, I went up almost a full shirt size after I started working out. So instead of getting larger in one way, you can get larger in another way. Yes. A lot of my smaller shirts and jackets either don't look right or limit my range of motion around my shoulders and lats. Yes. Here, this guy, I have clothes that don't fit me as well around the middle. If I finally get them where they don't restrict me here, which a lot of the new clothing does because it doesn't have raglan sleeves, yada, yada. This guy's having the same problem because he's getting more jacked up. So yes, as an adult, your size of your clothes can change. So then this other individual comes in and says, a Saville Row suit costs about £4 a week, as it will literally last you 30 years of 1 or 2 wears per week. Okay, so 1 or 2 wears per week for a suit. Again, he doesn't go into what type of suit, what the fabric is, why you're wearing it 1 or 2 times a week, how many of these you're going to need to get through a week. He's just saying, well, again, and in my previous video, I talked about, okay, if you're Kevin O'Leary, a Saville Row suit is great. You don't need this. You want this. but if you work in construction, you may never need this because you want this. Okay, so again, I don't think he watched my video before he started this thread, but I replied, and yet I've already outgrown most of the clothes I bought just 5 years ago, which is true. And most people need more than one suit if their occupation calls for suits. So again, wearing just one for, you know, he says if you wear it for 30 years, you're only spending $4 a week. I'm changing it to American dollars just to, because I'm not going to do all the conversions. Okay. Yeah, and I said, blah, blah, you can kind of fill in the gaps there. Whether or not that's accurate, will you really get this 30 years? And I put, here, true. If I could still fit in all my clothes from college, then it would cost way less than their suit, and I love tweed, but I can't wear it everywhere because, like I said in the last video, in July, I'm not wearing wool pants or, ever. So he says, you don't outgrow a Saville Row suit as long as you are an adult at the time of making it. Again, and don't become morbidly obese. Again, I don't think you have to become morbidly obese for a thing to not fit you. It has additional fabric at every seam, especially the side seam on the jacket and the back of the trousers. They will take it apart and remake it for you. Going from 130 pounds to 230 pounds would be little problem. Okay. And then he quotes me back to me as if that's supposed to be some kind of insult. If I could still fit in all my clothes from college, yes, but you can't because there was no allowance for future remaking. Okay, that may not be entirely true. You don't know what clothes I was wearing in college, for starters. And any good tailor will tell you that the sizing with extra fabric only goes so far. The vid, and I know he watches this other guy's videos, which is why I didn't just call him a troll and say he was lying. We get into that in a minute. But there's one guy who makes these Saville Row videos, and he keeps talking about how certain garments he loves, but they aren't his size. So any good tailor is still not a miracle worker, okay? Not that I'm. So anyway, what I had wrote to him was, it doesn't matter because most people still can't afford 3 of these suits on a starting salary straight out of college, no matter how long they might fit. And what am I supposed to wear in the meantime while they are completely remaking these suits over every couple years to, account for my changes? And is that like free of charge, like a lifetime warranty? Or, and can I get them to come to the USA, or do I have to go to London every time I need my pants altered? As soon as you buy some other suits to, compensate in the meantime, you have less money to buy these new custom suits or remake these custom suits. So you're getting at least one less suit now somewhere in that equation. Oh, and when you're just starting out at your new job, you also need shoes, good shoes, and silk ties, and shirts, and everything else. So just going to Saville Row and buying the most expensive things probably aren't still in your budget, even though in the long run, your budget would be this much smaller than if you went to C&R or Men's Warehouse or wherever you had to actually go to get your first starter wardrobe for those first 2 years. So then he comes back. Dude, I'm not selling you a Saville Row suit. I was agreeing with the original post, I think that's what that means, that you have to look at things on a cost per wear basis. You buy what makes you happy. Okay, again, back to the fast fashion video with the graph about what makes you happy. No, you can't always buy what makes you happy. Sometimes you have to buy what you need till you can get to what makes you happy, okay? My contention is not the idea that the Saville Row suits are bad, but that the cost per wear can't really be fully counted before the wearing of the garments. It's rather more of a hindsight thing, that you learn, as I said in the last video, which purchases were better and, should deserve to be repeat purchases when possible. Because, again, a lot of these brands don't keep making the same clothes that you want to get. This just all comes off as smug and unrealistic. Like I said in the last video, I'm sure I'm considerably older than the original post, person who had this little, I only buy on a cost per wear basis. Oh, okay, well, sure you do. Okay, maybe you do. And now this guy Comes back, and here's where, like I said, I would call them a troll and say you don't have any content, and so he had obviously read that previous, and so he comes back with this. I'm a bespoke tailor of men historicals. I think he meant men's historical suits, and even I think you are thinking about this too much, and it's literally my job to think about this. Well, maybe that's my job too. How would you know? Again, he likes to make a lot of assumptions about how much I'm thinking about things. My only point, is that on a cost per wear basis, even a $6,000 Saville Row suit, which is like, I've spent $2,000 on a suit, and it was probably more than enough. Okay, but they'll probably last plenty long at the age I am, the amount I intend to wear them. I'm sure I don't need to spend the full $6,000 plus the flight to London and all that. Anyway, even a $6,000 Savile Row suit is very inexpensive at $2 per wear. Well, yeah, I agree if you get that much wear out of it, but you won't. No matter how much you want to, chances are you're not going to be still wearing that suit in 30 years. Whereas a $20 t-shirt you get the average 7 wears out of is $2.85. Not everyone wants or needs or can upfront the cost of a Savile Row suit. It's a discussion point and nothing more. No one buying a Savile Row suit needs to be sold on the idea of a Savile Row suit. Well, yeah, I know. I don't have a website or any online presence for mine, as I have no openings for new clients. This is important now, there are more people in the world wanting bespoke suits than there are people capable of making them. Yeah, but I think there's also people who want them who can't afford them. So it evens out pretty quick. And I had put, yes, but people who can afford to buy multiple Savile Row suits don't need them to last 30 years either. They will get new ones in 3 to 5 years, just like any other clothes. Like I said, stuff gets stained, lapel preferences change or whatever, and I get a lot more wear out of my t-shirts than that. 7 uses. Yeah, I still have some that I literally bought 20 years ago. Did I know that I would still own those shirts now when I bought them then? Of course not. I didn't do any cost per wear thing. This t-shirt that I am wearing, I literally bought at Mervyn's in the early 2000s, and it's still wearing it, even though the collar is, I don't know if you can see this, the collar has come apart a bit. So no, I'm not wearing this out to a wedding. I'm not wearing this to anywhere nice, but it still fits. It doesn't have any holes in it apart from this collar wear. I definitely got way more than 7 wears out of it. So then he does the thing where he does my words back at me again. They will get new ones again in 3 years like any other clothes. I can assure you the vast majority do not. Whatever, agree to disagree, because I think you're wrong. Lapel preferences change or whatever. A good tailor will not make you a suit with a lapel that will go out of fashion. Fashion being this key word again, because we were talking about boredom in the previous video, and that was in somebody's original post or whatever. And I get a lot more t-shirts out of my shirts than that. I do. Yes, that was 20 years ago. The quality of t-shirts today is not what it was 20 years ago. Hence the 7 average wears. Why is proving me wrong so important to you? Because you're just proving yourself wrong with your own words, but I'm just pointing it out. I made a simple point about cost per wear. That was all. Well, okay, no, actually, you made a point about Savile Row suits being the thing, and then you said you're not trying to sell me a Savile Row suit. Blah, blah, blah. So here we go. So I responded, it doesn't matter what the fashion of the lapel may be. That was just an arbitrary example of how personal tastes can change over time, regardless of the quality of the thing. Do you actually think Eric Clapton is still wearing the same clothes he wore when he recorded Tears in Heaven? Or that Charles has to wear the same stuff from last year when he was still only Prince Charles? And I didn't even go into the Joaquin Phoenix tuxedo speech because let's open that basket some other day. Maybe it depends upon the brand of shirt to some degree, that some are constructed better than others. That would be a logical cost per wear argument that makes more sense than comparing the t-shirt to a completely different style of garment like a Savile Row suit. But if people are buying t-shirts that only last 7 wears, then they're literally doing something wrong. We agree on that much, I suppose. But your original point was that Savile Row suits would solve the cost per wear problem, and then instead of answering my questions about the fitting and the reconstruction of such suits, you instead said that they were just an example and all that. Okay, but I can demonstrate that a Wrangler work shirt size large may be more durable than a J.C. Penney shirt that costs maybe half the price or less. So the cost per wear should be automatically higher. But since the J.C. Penney shirt runs larger in fit, it will still last me longer if I gain weight than a Wrangler shirt that is too tight. Again. So if I bought these Wrangler shirts that were tight on me, I will still get less cost per wear out of them overall, even though I bought them knowing how durable they were for the price, which was still a higher price. So everything is not a 1-to-1 ratio is my point. And you're the one trying to prove me wrong and echoing the previous commenter that somehow this ability to present such, matter is me wasting my time and therefore I must be, shut down or whatever. Like I said, I spent maybe 20 minutes on that, and this video is almost 20 minutes of me reading this crap. But there's a whole bunch more here that I'm going to save for later. And like I said, the capsule wardrobe thing, I guess I'll have to revisit because I didn't want this to be this long of a video again. But I did want to read this exchange because this is typical of the kinds of exchanges I encounter now. And one of them is quite long and more recent about tweed garments. But since I already did a tweed garment video, if you made it this far, hopefully you'll just watch my tweed garment video and maybe I'll do a follow-up and read that stuff because I think some of it's interesting, but I don't want to try and stick it all in here now.